Hi guys, it's Sarah here from Cyclone Designs. I just posted a picture of a attempt at making a mould, and lots of people have responded, so I thought I'm going to do a video of it. So I thought I'll sort of start from the beginning. Obviously I've already got it set up, but I'll go through exactly what I did. So first of all, I had a baking dish, silicone one. I think it's an 8-inch. And what I did was trace around the bottom of it to get the circle. I then basically drew a line straight down where I thought, the points of the crescent should be. Got a bowl, and then got the bowl to where it was touching the points where the line intersected, and that's how I made the crescent, right? So I pulled that out. I then placed that into the bottom of the silicone mould. I've then used, this is just, what do you call it, painter's tape. This is a heavy duty sort of one. It's, not your cheapy one. And I've put two pieces, sticky sides together so that it's a bit firmer. And also so that I've not got a sticky side against where I'm going to pour the resin. And then what I've used is the, bathroom silicone. This one's a clear. It really doesn't matter what colour you use, I guess, because, at least if it was a colour, you can see it easily as to where you've gotten it. And then I taped one side to the edge of the silicone. And then all I've done is, while the template was in there, I've basically put a little bit of silicone as I've gone to get it to the shape. Now, a tip from when I've renovated a couple of bathrooms and things like that, and I do all the tradie stuff, when caulking, you have just dish soap and a little bit of water, and then you can run your finger a lot. You just dip your finger in it and run your finger along, and then the silicone doesn't stick to your fingers. And you can sort of smooth it out. It doesn't need to be smooth because that's not where the resin's going to go. And then I've pulled the template out, and this is sort of what I'm left with. So I'm just waiting for it to set now. I did build up quite a bit of a dam around the inside so that it just has some good stability. I'm going to pour it, when I do it, a couple of thin layers, just because I don't want it to mess up. Now, once I've done that, what I'm hoping I can do, and again, I have no idea if you can or you can't, but I did see somebody suggest the other day that you can use that same silicone to actually press things into it to make a mold, which makes sense. And my theory is, I've got a theory, let's test it. So I do that a lot. So once I've poured this to the thickness I want, or even if it, it doesn't need to be as thick, I'll get another container of some description that's big enough to then fill up with, the silicone. Now, that silicone costs all of, I think, couple of dollars at Bunnings. I'm in Australia, so whatever your hardware store is, I'm assuming would carry something similar. So I figure even if I go through a couple of them, these are 300 grams. Even if I go through a couple of them to fill it up and get it nice and smooth, to be able to press this into it to actually create a mold, it's still way cheaper than some of the ones I've seen out there. Unfortunately here in Australia, as much as we don't want to be, I'm trying not to buy from China. Now I'm sick to death of the whole thing. Unfortunately, the cost of things here in Australia is a bit astronomical compared to a lot of other places. So the cost of that I've seen for some of the most simple molds, especially when you're starting out like me, you know, I'm a complete beginner, that, you know, to pay $80 plus for a mold, you know, when you're not doing it as a business or selling them and, you know, recouping your money, seems excessive. So yeah, I figure if there's a way that you can sort of start out and, you know, do it this way, all the better. So we'll come back when this is dry. So the silicone, I started this about an hour ago. I mean, it's semi-dry. I probably could pour now, but I'm going to wait a couple more hours and pour it later on this evening, or possibly even tomorrow, and then we'll go from there. All right, we'll come back when that's sealed and ready to pour. Okay, so we're back. It seems to be set enough now to pour. I've made sure, well, I'm hoping it's all stuck down enough. As I said, I have done it with a glue gun in the silicone mold, but not with silicone on silicone, so to speak. So I'm just going to mix up my resin. If my scales would not go off, I'm going to start off with about 300 grams. Today I'm just using the red box resin that I've got, just because I want to try and use it up. It's not my favourite resin, but for this type of thing it's pretty good. So it was a smidge more than I wanted, but that's okay. It's a ratio I can deal with. And my part B. Okay. All right. So I'm just going to mix this up. I just pause this while I do that. You don't need to watch me mixing the resin for a good 3 to 5 minutes. All right, we're back in a sec. Okie dokie. So I've mixed up my 400 mils. Actually, it's nearly 500 mils worth, because this one's by weight. Now it's just one I picked up off of eBay. Relatively cheap, bit stronger in odour than other ones that I've had. I've had just a laminating resin I got from a local place here in Melbourne, where my dad buys his fiberglass stuff from, but it was epoxy. And I've just had platinum super clear, which I tried out the other day. This was the result of that. Quite pleased with that so far, and it's an Australian made and owned company, which I'm really liking. I know they've been inundated, so yeah, really looking forward to trying some more of their products. I'm not sponsored by anyone, so I'm buying these myself, so always looking for economical, but yeah, good products. You know, as I said to those that were commenting on my post of the picture of, you know, me doing this, I've seen this particular mold, you know, a crescent moon, all well and good, but it was like $80+. And, you know, as somebody just starting out, I don't have that kind of money to spend for, you know, something that I'm not going to make money from. You know, that's just nuts as far as I'm concerned. Look, I don't know the cost involved in making the mould, so, you know, I don't want to speak out of turn about the costs, but yeah, it seems rather excessive, the cost for a mould, you know, like this, that's, you know, not 8 inches, but not a big solid thing. So anyway, because I've seen coastal ones that are, you know, $100, which I think is just crazy, when I can basically do something similar to this. Actually, I've got a Swiss roll silicone pan on its way, which I am pretty much hoping I can do a tray with, because again, I want to do like a proper tray. And you know, the cheapest one I've seen, which was actually in euro, worked out to about 350 odd Australian dollars. I don't have that money to kind of flitter on something I'm learning on. All right, so I'm going to do a bit of a layer of black on the bottom. So far, so good. This was just a bit of acrylic paint that I have added in. I didn't add too much because I didn't want it to be like super opaque or anything, but yay, no leakage that I can see as yet. Just going to run my stick around right into the corners to get rid of those air bubbles, and same along the edge here. All right, now that's that. Now the other layer, I'll let this sit for a minute. Actually, let me grab my heat gun. Now we'll just do this. All right, that's that. Oh, no, I can still see more. Okay. Now, don't know whether I want to let that sit. And with this resin, it actually has quite a decent working time. And I did find last time I used, this was the paint that I popped in there. It's just a Mont Mart satin. It actually made the resin go off really quite quickly. So don't know whether there's something in that it didn't like, and I didn't use much of it at all, but yeah, it did go off quite quickly. The one thing I did do that day though also was warm up the resin, so it was quite a bit thicker when I started, so it might have been that I did the thermo reaction thingy a bit too quickly. So yeah, I'm hoping that this, oh, just see a big bubble there. Oh, actually got it out. Yeah, because I want to try and get as few bubbles around the side, because what I want to do with the next layer is actually a layer of glitters, make it look like a a bit of a galaxy sort of thing. I figured, yes, I'm going to try and make another mold from this pour, but if I can get this pour to work as well as something I can use, then yay. You know, I hate wastage. I've got a real thing about wastage. All right, so I think what I'll do, I'm going to put the glitters into the resin. Now what I've got laid down over here, which you can't see it's off camera, is actually just baking paper to protect my bench top. Well, it's actually not mine, it's my landlord's. All right, so what I'm using, I've got a bit of a magenta glitter, some blue. These are just something I picked up at Spotlight. It was a great big kit. Actually, it was my husband that picked this up. He went, oh, you can use that. He's great to take shopping. He actually will pick stuff before I do. All right. And yeah, so we also had a lighter pink and a lighter green, and this one's like a darker bluey purple. So I'm just pouring some in here now. I'll just mix it up. So hopefully you can see that. Hopefully it's gonna be enough. If not, I'll add more. Oh, ooh, I like that combination. Probably shouldn't have done it in my actual mixing cup. What's the saturation level? I might put a little bit more of each in. Like, I want this to be somewhat translucent. I don't want it to be like, yeah, I'm thinking I might put a light or something behind it. Or, you know, if this all works, then I'll put lights in it like I've seen people do. I'm sure my granddaughter will love it, because I can tell you what everyone's getting for Christmas this year is homemade stuff. That gets it out of my house. All right. Oh, that's awesome. The colours are great. I hope you can actually see that there, but that's a really good mix of colours. All right, I'm actually going to let that sit for a little bit, and hopefully we get a little bit of setting with the black. All right, we'll be back shortly. Okay, let's see. I've given that about 10 or 15 minutes just to sit. Let's see. Yep, okay, it's sort of going straight in, but I can at least sort of pour it in a bit of a pattern that's going to show, especially considering I didn't make the black like real opaque. I only added a very small amount of paint. Sorry if you can't see it just yet. So much glitter in the bottom. Really need to get some silicone mixing cups. I do have little egg cups that I usually use that are, well, they're egg poaching cups. I just got them at Kmart, but they're brilliant because you can turn them inside out, and because the silicone, once it's dry, it just pops straight off. All right. Now, this is going to take a while to set because I think that's probably way more than I needed. But hopefully you can see the glitter on the top. You'll definitely be able to see it on the bottom, I guarantee it, but hopefully it'll stay a little bit all the way through because it's a really cool combination of glitter. And it is very much that galaxy kind of look. Alright, I think that's about it. Alright, so I'm going to give it a torch. Alright, well, that's kind of it. We will come back probably tomorrow. I sort of have my heater going. I've just turned it off for a little bit, only because it's getting a bit hot, especially having used the heat gun. I'm so impatient. I don't know about being a person that can do like lots of layers and wait. Anyway, so that's it. We've got no leaks, so far so good. We will see what happens when we demold it tomorrow, and yeah, fingers crossed, but so far so good. I like the shape. I don't think it may have a little bit wavy there, but like, who cares? It's the moon. The moon's not flat. So yeah, we'll see what happens tomorrow once we demold. Cheers, guys. Okay, well, we're back. It's the next morning, nearly afternoon. I slept in this morning. And we're pretty well set. So let's see about demolding. Now, I always just try and press away from the mold first. The upside to these baking ones is that, you know, you've got a bit more flexibility because they're so large. Now let's see. Okay, now that's not coming away so well. Oh, hang on, here we go. I have a feeling the paper's going to stick to it. Oh, what a bugger. Yeah, I'm going to get some sticking, but that's okay because I can sort of sand it back. I was actually almost hoping I could just about save the mold. So let's just do it this way. Now, we did have a little bit of leakage happen in a couple of spots. Oh, wow. Wow, that glitter did drop. And I have a feeling I might have... Oh, no, there we go. All right. So, all demolded that way. It's a little tacky on the bottom. I have a feeling I may have killed the mold by putting silicone on silicone, but you know what? This I got from a thrift store. or an op shop as we call them here in Australia, so I'm not overly concerned. But yeah, I'd say it's stuck good and proper. To that, now let's see. That's pretty well stuck, which is a shame. I thought that might have come off quite cleanly, but easy way to actually fix that for next time, if there is a next time, which technically I actually should be able to use that again. Even with that silicone there, I could just actually stick something on the back side of the silicone that's stuck in there. I will be able to pick this off, but yeah, might not be quite as... Now that is still very flexible for some reason, so I'm actually going to cut it. Now remembering this has only been curing for not even quite 24 hours, so, and like, you know, it's quite thick. Just need to find a pair of scissors, which I have about 20 pairs in this house, and do you think I can ever find where I've put them? All right, be right back. Okie dokie, so I found a pair of scissors. All right, so I'm just gonna actually pull that out a little bit. Hoping you can actually see this. All right, that's that side done. This side's a little bit cleaner. All right, so yeah, in the center, as you can see here, some of the paper has stuck. I was just going to say the easy way around it would be just to use some baking paper on the inside of the painter's tape. Now this is actually quite an expensive one, so I am a little bit surprised that it's stuck. But yeah, this is the baking paper I use. I just get it from the supermarket. Put some nice big fingerprints in it. One of these days I'll remember to put my gloves on when I'm undoing things. But overall, actually I am going to put them on because otherwise I'm going to make a right mess of the rest of it, which I don't want to do. And my dog's just opened the door by himself and come back inside, and it's freezing outside. And of course he can open the door, he just can't close it again. All right, so hopefully those fingerprints will come out. I actually added a little bit more glitter to the back side because you can see it's all fallen to the front side. I'm wondering whether it's see-through at all. I need to take it outside, but look, shape-wise, I reckon that's come out really, really well. So what I'm going to do next is see if using that same silicone, the Calking silicone, I'm going to see if I can actually put it into a container of some description and then press this in to the silicone so that I can actually make a silicone mold from it. Whether it works or not, don't know, but this, all I'm going to do, I'll clean this up, I'll just sand that off, I'll pick off what I can because I think some of it will pick off. Yeah, see, even there, I'll be able to pick most of it off, but yeah, it's still, it's a bit tacky in there actually, but look, you know what it was, for, as I said, this cost me all of, I think, 50 cents or something at the op shop or thrift store, depending on where you're from. And technically I should be able to use it again. I can just actually, you know, tape. Actually, if I used the painter's tape again, I'd just put the sticky side to here and it should adhere to the silicone and go straight back on there. So if the actual silicone mold thing doesn't work, I'm just going to reuse that one exactly the same way. The only thing I'll do is line around the inside of the tape with baking paper so it comes off a lot easier, or something else that's, you know, maybe shiny, maybe some cellophane. Cellophane works quite well. I've used that on the base when I've actually just used the caulking silicone around it for some geode type things that I'd done. I do have quite a bit of a lip around here, so I need to sort of sand that back as well. But you know what, overall I'm pretty pleased. You got a few little bumps here, but it's the moon. Hey, you know, the moon has bumps and lumps, it's not flat. And yeah, I mean, hopefully they actually will be less noticeable. Actually, I can still press that. I might almost be able to, interesting, I can't press the middle ones. I can a little bit. So yeah, but look, sometimes the imperfections are the best parts of it. But for the test this was, I'm pretty pleased. Bit disappointed all the glitter went to the bottom, but I love that glitter combination of those 5 colours that I used. It looks real pretty. I'll see if I can take a shot outside and see if it actually is see-through or not, because I'd like to do one where I put little fairy lights or something through it as well, because I think that'd be kind of cute. But overall, for this part, I'm pretty pleased. I'm going to let this cure for a couple of days before I try doing the silicone mold from it. Ooh, that gave a lip there. Yeah, and I'll try and get all that stuff off the inside as well, and maybe neaten this end up, but can actually cut off a bit further. There we go. As I said, this is still a little bit flexy. So, yeah. All right, guys. Part 1, I'll call a 3/4 success. Or no, it's a success. Like, the mold's there. It's a moon. You can tell what it is. It's come out quite well. Easily fixed to get rid of these bits in here. We'll let it cure and see what happens. Cheers, guys. What I will just add before I finish this off is lesson learnt from this. If I used hot glue gun instead of the silicone, it would have come straight off. However, it can sometimes come off, you know, during, so it could cause leaking and things like that. But you could, you know, put tape over the top of it as well. Yeah, because I've done a divided into like a coaster type mold with a hot glue gun before, and that did work, and it came off cleanly. So obviously, as I said, I've killed this this cake pan, but I mean, you know, as I said, I can also still use it. The shape is still there, so I could actually use it again. Actually, I could pour probably straight into it as it is if I wanted a thinner one, or I could build this up and make it higher so that I don't actually need to use the tape again. Actually, that would probably make more sense. So yeah, if I can't, I want to try the other thing anyway of pressing the actual form into the silicone to see if that works too. But if not, I'm going to I will build this up so that this is permanently my crescent moon mold, and I'll see if I can get that nice and flat there and as thick as I want it. So yeah, I could actually fill this up so that it is a nice firm thing. But that's the lesson learned out of that. If you want to be able to use it for something else, maybe use a hot glue gun instead. Yeah, overall, I think it worked quite well. All right, guys. Well, look, try and make somebody smile today. Make yourself smile. The world sucks right now, but, you know, we'll get through it and come out the other side. Enjoy and have a great day. Bye.